I originally created the Happiness Manifesto as a result of me just wanting to save content for myself. It was for me. It wasn't to. I didn't expect for it to have so many amazing people that resonated with it. So I just started as I watched. Different speakers and spiritual leaders and just different points of views and perspectives that resonated with me. I would put it on the Happiness Manifesto. And eventually I realized there are a lot of people who are just like me, who are
Yeah.
growing and connecting and evolving and utilizing social media as a tool to help them reach. It's a tool to help reach and higher frequencies.
Welcome to the Consciousness of the Way. I'm your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Quinn, and we have a special guest to the podcast today, a dear friend of mine, DeDe from Happy Manifesto. Welcome, friends.
Hello, thank you so much, Sen Quinn. It's such an honor to be here. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm just so grateful that you're sharing your beam of light that is present within
Mhm.
social media. But now, more people get to see this angelic energy that you put out, and you're doing it right now. I can't stop smiling. I don't know what it is, but you have that ability. I mean, it's that connecting with that frequency. But yes, we're so happy to have you on the podcast, and we're all about consciousness here.
Mhm. Yes, we are.
So yes, and so you're definitely very present within social media. So having you here today, getting an insight as to who is the wizard. You remember the Wizard of Oz? Who's the
Uh-huh.
wizard behind the Happy Manifesto? And it's
Yes.
this beam of light. You can immediately tell by going on your page how powerful the intention is and all the good vibes that are coming out of it. But it's just great to have you here. So, how about we ask you a little bit more about yourself and how you created this incredible gift for the world?
Absolutely. Again, the Happiness Manifesto it's one of my, I guess you can call it's my baby. I originally created the Happiness Manifesto as a result of me just wanting to save content for myself. It was for me. It wasn't to. I didn't expect for it to have so many amazing people that resonated with it. So I just started as I watched different speakers and spiritual leaders and just different points of views and perspectives that resonated with me. I would put it on the Happiness Manifesto. And eventually I realized there are a lot of people who are just like me, who are
Yeah.
growing and connecting and evolving and utilizing social media as a tool to help them reach. It's a tool to help reach and higher frequencies. So I just said, okay, this is one of my goal. This is one of my missions and one of my purposes is to connect with people via social media. So I continue to just put out jewels that resonate with me, and in hopes that it resonates with others and help others. So that's how the Happiness Manifesto comes about, and I enjoy it. It's fun. I enjoy connecting with people. I even enjoy, the comments and commenting and talking to people, and it's really fun. It's like I have a bunch of people on my journey with me. Just we're all just kind of floating along and evolving along, and it's a beautiful experience. So
Oh, it's just it gives me so much joy just being here talking to you and you're emitting this incredible energy.
mm,
My heart is bubbling just with the
mm,
the joy that you're putting out, and it's like really important to people to understand that transmission that I always share with the people on social media is how powerful it is and how your thought, your intention is absolutely valuable. It's valuable to the world. It's valuable to you, and your page is an absolute testament to how powerful it is and how it draws all that energy in. Being that you specialize in manifesting and laws of attraction, and it's so evident because the old expression, what was it? If you build it, they will come. I
Yeah.
think you've realized that. I think that's been realized, and
Hmm.
it's just really beautiful to see. How do you determine what kind of content? What do you gravitate to? Is there a specific type of message that you're looking for to share with your followers?
I think that for me, it's ultimately it's what resonates with me. I utilize YouTube as another tool to um, look at different. I see what resonates with me, and then but number one, it has to be for me about alignment is always the goal.
Yes,
So one of the things that I believe that alignment is one of the ways that alignment is reached is by emotional, by reaching that state of joy, um, happiness, peace, those things. So if it's content that kind of that reflects that, then I like to put that on my page. And also there's it's everything is law of attraction based. So you have to reach a state
beautiful.
of alignment in order to deliberately manifest the things that you want. So that's happiness, joy, and also it's also about relationships in terms of mostly the relationship with yourself, because I think that's the most important relationship.
Yes,
Um,
yeah,
so I like to put out content about that, and um, attracting, and also just tools of the law of attraction. Those are always my favorite and fun.
yeah.
Put out so different things to manifest, different ways or different, yeah, just different ways to manifest, like money, relationships, happiness, I don't know, things like that. So those are usually the
Yeah,
ways, different things I like to
yeah,
put out.
yeah. So what would you say would be something that motivated? I know it's inspiring. It's just changing people's lives every day.
Mhm.
Would you say you've got what would be a good example of some of the things that you've created for yourself, other than instantaneously manifesting a following of hundreds of thousands of people that are listening to everything that you put out? And a spoiler alert to the audience, just in case she's putting the manifestation on hold, she did share with me that you will see this angelic being firsthand coming soon to her channel, which I'm so very excited about.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, so I was just really curious. What would there be an example that you can think of specifically?
Oh yes. I'm passionate about the law of attraction just based on my personal experience.
Yes.
I was in 2017 is when my life completely just changed. That's when I really truly discovered the law of attraction.
Wow.
And so not only did I manifest my amazing husband deliberately, I also manifested my amazing home. I have a beautiful home. Actually, on my page, there's a highlight on my page that, and I think it says the name of this highlight is who I am. So it just kind of gives you an insight of me. And
Right.
you can see just different snippets of my home and of my beautiful dogs. I also deliberately manifested my baby I'm currently expecting. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So all these things I wrote first and foremost, wrote in a journal. Uh,
Right.
wrote in a journal, and also, you know, different ways. Meditation is a big part of my alignment journey. And then, yeah, so I and focused on it and different ways and different techniques I use for each different thing. But I manifested an amazing life ultimately, and so and still manifesting. Of course, it never ends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say one of my favorite things is my husband. Literally to the T of everything that I wrote before I met him. Everything that
Wow.
I wrote, he fits that description. Literally, there
Wow.
are some things that were surprising. He's a comedian for sure. Not in real life, but so it's like little things that I didn't put, but which it but it's still, it's such a delight and a surprise. The good thing, the other things that weren't in my journal. So yeah, I
Wow.
think that's probably my favorite manifestation.
Wow, that's really, really profound.
Yeah.
So, when did you realize this was something that was it was magnetic for you? Like in your journey, in your natural born life, when was it like, oh my goodness, this is a part of me. I need to pursue this. Did you have a specific date or time in your life when you realized that?
Hmm. I would say that I just know when I first discovered it, it just resonated so deeply. And I would say that also, I'm not sure if you heard of Abraham Hicks. Um,
Yes, yes.
she is one of my favorite. Um, that she was at the start of my spiritual journey.
Oh, wow.
Very start, yes. And I realized that. Um, Life is supposed to be good. Life is supposed to feel good. It's supposed to, I'm supposed to have everything that I want. And everybody can have this. And there's not a finite piece of the pie. Everyone has their own pie, and everyone can do it. And not everyone wants the same thing. So it's like it's not, there's no competition or anything like that. So I think that's when, once I really truly realized that, it's when I said, okay, this is great, because I can have a great life, and that's how it should be. You can have a great life, and
Yes,
everyone can have a great life. And here
right.
are the tools and the ways that you can do it. So I just wanted to share that with the world. I think if that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that a lot of people tend to let a limited perception of manifesting or a belief system or gravitating to belief, faith, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then they get sort of caught up in this is my observation
Mhm.
from the time I've been doing this. And then they get caught up in, well, it's supposed to be this way. And what I've noticed,
Mhm.
especially for manifestation, is well, I was told that if I want something from the universe, I need to I need to think of three other people that will generate that for it to be real. And
Hmm.
that was an interesting one for me
Yeah.
when I first heard that, and I've heard that dozens of times over the years. And for me, the way I teach people is understanding that an emotion is a disturbance,
Mhm.
and that creates an interference for your own manifestation. So, okay, so we've got that component, and that's realized. But now let's look at what drew you to wanting to validate that there's a limitation. So then I
Mhm.
sort of like give them an idea of, okay, well, understand this is for me to be true, and what I know all the years I've been doing this. The universe is abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. And if
Mhm.
that is true, and then recently, moreover, within quantum physics, they've validated that so many times that you start to go, okay, well, if someone with a white lab coat says it's real, no, just kidding.
Mhm.
But you need something else. You need another piece of. Don't let me decide. I
Yeah.
want you to feel it, just as I want everyone at home watching this. DeDe was very clear in how she shared how she felt about what's going on and how
Mhm.
that's so important to your own realization. How you feel is critical,
Yes. Mhm. Yeah,
you
I
know?
always say that thought comes first and the emotion follows. And that translates that to your life, your reality. So you can have a thought about something, and then you know and then your emotion, you'll immediately have an emotional response to it, whether it's unbeknown, whether you realize it or not. It can be a very benign just thought, emotion that you don't really focus on, because it can be just a dog walking, a person walking their dog down the street.
Yeah,
You're not going to
yeah,
have too much of an emotion about it, but
yeah.
um that those emotions and thoughts are constantly shaping your reality.
Yes.
And you're constantly going to eventually attract those things. And sometimes those thoughts and emotions don't really, it's kind of like a little drop in a big huge ocean of your reality, so it might not really reflect in your life, but your emotions do, like it's, I mean, plays a big role in your life and what you attract. So
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful realization. And
mhm,
for everyone that's listening to those profound words of DeDe, I mean, that simplicity, which I always like to remind people of, everything is a thought, emotion, and a feeling.
mhm,
End all be all, and that encapsulates every second of every minute of every hour of your life.
mhm,
So I feel really grateful that I'm sharing this space with someone who has that incredible insight that I believe is an incredible. The
yeah,
universe gave me that nugget, and I imagine and then the universe handed you that one too. When you come to
yes,
that realization, it's so powerful, as a human being to go, okay, I can that makes sense to me. That makes a lot of
mhm,
sense. I mean, people don't realize it kind of follows. It's kind of like a thought, an emotion, and then the feeling is the
yeah,
last validator, that
yes,
trio component. And so, ultimately the goal is for most people to take that thought, that experience, whatever they're having that will be attached with an emotion and this energetic feeling, and sort of go, okay, if I can heal from whatever that may be, if it's positive, you're just enriching it. If it's what you perceive as
mhm,
negative, then you want to heal from that, which whatever the stagnation is, the emotion, the feeling, and let that pass through you. Then you have a thought that you can access at will, but it is more wisdom. It's
yeah,
wisdom in of itself. You don't have the emotional and physical charge that comes with it. And
mhm.
so, I mean, it's really profound hearing that from you. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
speaking of, you mentioned you being grateful, and gratitude is favorite, one of my favorite vibrations.
yeah,
I'm starting to differentiate gratitude with appreciation. Uh,
right,
I feel there's a slight difference and energy with it.
yes,
So I think appreciation just maybe it's a step up when it
yeah,
comes to the frequency. It's a bit higher.
yeah.
So I just want to let you know that I appreciate you. Thank you. You are grateful, and I thank you for mentioning gratitude. And for those listening and watching, gratitude and appreciation is one of the my favorite tools to get into alignment. So,
Yeah.
gratitude and appreciation can be something as simple as telling the person next to you, I'm so grateful for you. You are just, thank you for this platform. Thank you for your amazing app, which I'm sure a lot of your followers know about. They should. If they, I'm sure you'll tell
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
amazing app. I'm grateful for this time. I'm thankful it's Friday. I love all days of the week, but I'm very appreciative of it being Friday. It's a beautiful day and it's a beautiful moment. So that is one of my so thank you for also bringing up gratitude, because that's
Well,
such a quick alignment tool. So and that can kind of put you right in the space of, okay, it's, I got it, it's a good day. I can do this. I'm grateful for my dog, whatever it is.
no, that's a beautiful realization. I mean, for everyone listening, that you see how it echoes and it reverberates, and we're now sort of vibrating and oscillating at the same frequency. So,
Mhm.
the viewer will also feel that incredible frequency of vibration that you're putting out, and it's
Yeah.
really hard not to smile. I want people to know this, and when you watch it, you'll be like, okay, it is kind of hard. When I'm looking at DeDe, it's very difficult to. I just can't do it because it's
Yeah.
that feeling that you get, which we keep going
Mhm.
back to, which we just went back to. It's that feeling, and you're putting that out, and it's so realized. It feels so amazing because that's how you really are. You're not attempting to sort of like compartmentalize or restrict yourself. You're just sharing. And that's that rippling effect that takes place because of the energetics and understanding we're all interconnected.
Mhm.
Then, it's like, okay, I'm grateful. And then instantly everyone's feeling, wow, I'm grateful. I have no idea
Mhm,
why, but you don't need to have a reason why. You just
mhm,
it's that feeling that you get, and I mean, we talk about this, and I just love that whole idea of just turning around and telling someone, I'm really grateful for you, or thank you
mhm.
for just being here, and
Yeah,
that type of seed that you plant. I always do that every day. It's like I get up, and if I go and get a coffee or whatever, you go to the coffee shop. I'm not going to plug anyone, but let's just say you drive through the drive-through, and the person's, hi, what do you want? And you give, and then when you get to the drive-through, you're like, well, how are you today? And
yeah.
they're like,
Mhm,
excuse me, what did you just ask me how I am? And it takes a lot of people back. They can't realize that they're so removed from their own life. They don't realize how much they need the nourishment, how detached they are from this truth teller. And just something as simple as someone actually acknowledging them as another
mhm,
human being is so enriching. It's so powerful. And when you said that, I was just like, wow,
mhm.
that is just like, it's like, for if anyone doesn't do another thing in their life, if that's the only thing that they take from our conversation today, is just to realize someone else's power by just asking them how they are, how their
Yeah,
day is, that
mhm.
is so powerful. And we sort of, I'm speaking for DeDe, but I mean, we speak the same language. We're like-minded like that. So we're out there sharing this with people all the time, and it's probably a moment right now where people are looking at this going, "Wow, I've never thought about it like that. I've never
Yeah,
thought about just
mhm,
acknowledging someone else," and it's so powerful.
mhm. Yes, and just a simple connection with someone in the elevator, wherever. It can, and even just a smile across the room. I think a lot of people forget about those little things. I'm not, some people might, but it's a smile across the room can just completely change the course of someone's day. And of course of your day too. So yeah, I that definitely resonates with what you're saying. Definitely resonates with me.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
that just brings us right back to what we're both always reiterating. I believe you have the same sentiment, is it's all the feeling. It's gotta
Yeah.
be the feeling. You determine, the individual determines how they feel, and that determines their experience. It's like you have that moment, that realization, "I like this, I don't like that." And
Yeah.
that's where you need to gravitate. You don't gravitate to anything else. You need to gravitate to what makes you feel good,
Mhm.
and that's the be all or end all. People sort
Mhm.
of create this complexity, but when they hear you and I saying it, and then they realize it because we're all interconnected, it's like, you know, realizing that you all of a sudden have legs and you can get up and walk. It's like
Mhm.
being a 1 year old again. Oh, I started crawling and I stepped up and went, oh my goodness, I can walk. It's that incredible power that comes to the forefront. You're like, man, this is profound, and it really
Mhm.
is. It's like you are just radiating this energy and
Mhm.
the frequency that goes with it, and you just feel it right in the core of you. And
Yeah.
so, I'm getting tremendous amount of like nitric oxide and oxytocin that is being produced right now for me. And I've got to be honest with you, everybody, I'm high as a kite right now. It's
Yay.
exciting. And that's that bubbling energy, but
Yeah.
you're putting that out into the world, and you're expanding yourself to share it with everyone, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank
So,
no, yes, definitely the pleasure is mine for sure. Absolutely, the pleasure is mine. So thank you for your amazing and kind words. Now I'm high
well
and floating just
well, that's and people should know at home watching this that that's how easy it is to connect
Mhm.
with yourself, connect with the universe, realize how powerful you are, and then implement whatever it is that you want to manifest, heal, magic. I always put it in those three categories, and people are like, magic, what does that mean? Well, manifest something a little bit more specific. Like
Yeah.
manifestation is such a powerful tool in of itself when you
Mhm.
realize that magic in the sense of I need specifically this thing to happen. Okay, well, let's map it out. Map it out for yourself. And this is what you want to realize. And then once that's a thought with an emotion and a feeling that's attached to it, It is realized from wave to matter to particle. It is a cluster of energy, frequency, vibration that is taking place instantaneously. People need to understand how powerful they are. So it's
Mhm.
like, well, especially with DeDe's focus on law of attraction and understanding how powerful that is for herself and then for her followers, that is like important. I mean, we were just speaking on that before, and how, if you think a certain way, you feel a certain way, you have an emotion with that, with the feeling, because you can't have an emotion without a feeling.
Mhm.
Then you have this event. It's like, oh, I woke up in a bad mood, and then all of a sudden I had a bad day. It's like,
Mhm.
wow, how simple is that? How easy is that? Well, yes, it is. It
Yeah,
is that easy.
it really is. It definitely is. I think about, just when in terms of manifestation, and when you mentioned that we're all powerful, and it's very true. Manifesting, just for everyone that's listening, we're manifesting all the time. We are manifesting the good things and the bad things that comes into our life, and a lot of times people don't realize it could be something as simple as being manifesting a specific, I don't know, person calling you, or not even realizing, because you were just thinking about that person. Today I was thinking about my brother, and he literally called called me 3 minutes into me thinking about him. So we're manifesting all the time. I like to focus, or not focus, I enjoy working on my deliberate manifestation, and that just means that you are deliberate and you're focusing on a specific thing that you want to manifest, like you
Yeah,
mentioned.
yeah,
So just for a little, just a little nugget for people listening, we're manifesting all the time. The
yeah,
universe never stops working.
yeah.
Thankfully, the universe never stops working.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great realization for everybody to have a greater understanding, because this is DeDe's mission and focus on law of attraction. When she becomes sort of like, finely tuned into something that makes you feel so good, it starts to ripple out into the very infrastructure of your reality. And that's why she's bringing all this incredible stuff and content and all this love and gratitude and joy into the world, because that's really how she feels.
Mhm.
It's like we wouldn't be sitting here listening to the Happy Manifesto, uh, divine source of information. If that wasn't how you were feeling, we'd be listening to something else that may not be of the same vibrational frequency, because that's not how you feel. And it's sort of
Right.
like you can't hide that. At a certain point, you sort of get to a point. I mean, I was listening to a person, because we get stuff all the time. I
Mhm.
mean, you're in social media, you get all these little reels going on, and all of a sudden it's like I hear this one guy, and he's like, I don't beg from God to hope that I'm going to get something. I don't do this. I don't do that. I command it because I am God. And I'm like, wow, okay,
Mhm.
listen, this is his realization.
Yeah.
And guess what? It will work for him because he believes it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Absolutely.
and,
Hmm.
and it's like, guess what? That's the beginning and end of everything that anyone has to realize is your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with, and the only thing that's going to create or not create your reality. That
Yes.
I've
Hmm.
learned from what I've done for years, and I imagine that's how DeDe feels also in all her experience and everything that she's done. That this is something that is a validator, and the
Hmm.
confirmation comes from your experience. The confirmation comes from your life. The confirmation comes from your reality. And if it's not shaping the way you want it to, stop for a minute, come and watch DeDe's channel for a little bit longer, and let that into you, let that into your very sense, your very being, the core of
Hmm.
who you are, because these messages are what's going to shift your neurology. It's going to shift how you are perceiving things, because you're receiving this information. It's all permeable. This physical body is
Yes.
permeable, and all that is coming in, the energy, frequency, vibration, instantaneously.
Yes, absolutely. And I look at just spirituality, and all of this is spiritual. Everything that we're speaking of, and the law of attraction, everything is spirit in terms of what we're speaking of. And I look at spirituality as a buffet. So certain things you're going to put on your plate, certain things, certain tools might work, certain tools might resonate. It might be, I was going to say meditation, but I feel strongly about meditation. I think it's one of those power tools that everyone should kind of have in their tool bag. But um, journaling, for example, that might be something. It's on my plate, when I go through, and it's in my spiritual buffet, but it might not be something for another person. So it's one of those things. Is what res what resonates with you, what you believe, and that'll help you along your journey. So yeah. But I will say meditation is one of those power tools. You should, well, hopefully it resonates enough to put in your tool bag for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really powerful, observation. You
Mhm.
know, journaling is innately, everybody has
Mhm.
numbers, words, symbols
Yeah.
integrated into their very DNA. Now,
Mm,
okay, oh, and I always talk in the third person when I talk to my audience. It's like, oh, Sifu, how do you know that's true? I'm like, well,
mhm.
what do you gravitate to? That's all you need. Just let this guide you. You will determine what music you like, what people you like, what food you like to eat, what clothes you like to wear. This is your realization, and it will
Yeah.
gravitate. Just as I'm just confirming what DeDe said, which is maybe it's journaling, maybe it's music, maybe it's
Mhm.
meditation, maybe it's all of the above. Maybe that I love that analogy, the buffet, the spiritual buffet. I
Mhm.
love that. I'm sorry, I might take that from you,
No,
but I
please,
will I
please
will I will give you the cred, the street cred when
do.
I share that. I'll be like, I got that from one of my dear friends, spiritual
Mhm.
buffet, and this really is. It
Yeah.
is, and it's really tailored to you. And
Yeah.
I notice that do you do alignment with your with people that you work with? What sort of alignment would you take someone through in relation to working with them?
It's based on the individual. So for
Okay,
example, if it's just recently I met with someone, and think of ways to, without putting he so I was recently working with someone who um wanted to attract a lover,
okay,
actually a specific person. And I, we kind of just worked through it in terms of, okay, well, let's talk about the relationship with yourself, and then also previous relationships that you've had, and then we focused on those those good qualities that he liked in previous relationships, and then also the relationship with himself. And we discovered that there was a disconnect his with his when it came to his thoughts with attracting love. So he had kind of a lower frequency, a low vibration when it came to attracting specific components of a lover. And so we kind of worked through that, and worked on that. And I try to tell people that you can attract things in your life without deliberately focusing on that thing. So for example, if you want to attract, if you want to hit the lottery, or something like that, you don't and actually I advise for people not to complete just focus on that all the time, because you're putting a lot of resistance and a lot of just urgency on things, and that urgency has a frequency. And so you can focus on other things that are working well. So in terms of a relationship, how is the relationship with, I don't know, your closest friend?
Right.
Tell me about that. What do you like about that relationship with your closest friend? And focus on that, hone in on that. And that can, and it's called shape shifting. And
Oh,
I
I like that.
yeah, I
I'm
can't.
I'm 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 a big fan of that. Yeah.
Yes. And you can just ride on that energy or frequency tail of that vibration, so you can focus on this amazing relationship you have with your closest friend. And or even a previous relationship, without, if it's easy for you to focus on the good qualities without focusing on the bad, um focus on that and ride that wave. And it can be for 1 minute a day. You can go on a 1 minute trance of focusing on this high vibrational memory. And that can shape shift after a while. And by while I don't mean a specific time, but eventually that can turn into you feeling good about or healing those low vibrations when it comes to the things that you actually want to attract. So if you were having any type of negative emotion about attracting the love of your life, you'll see that that feeling or that vibration will eventually kind of go away, because
Yeah.
you've spent so much time focusing. You're on a high vibration or high frequency over here,
I
that
love it.
that negative vibration just slowly, when you revisit it, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. I know I can attract this, and I know it's easy, and that sort of thing. So I kind of give in terms of alignment, I try to just kind of give take them on an emotional, get their emotions and their vibration on a kind of an even or neutral playing
Right.
field, and then give them tools, and then we just kind of go from there. It doesn't, sometimes some things just take longer than others, like
Yeah.
some things, especially for humans, we when it comes to money and relate in love, those are usually the hardest. Not hardest, because it doesn't have to be hard. Those are
Love
usually
it.
the things that takes a lot more molding. So because we spent so much time pushing against it without even realizing it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, shape shifting is an incredible. Did you? Where did you get that from specifically?
I think I first heard the term from Michael Beckwith.
Okay.
He is another spiritual teacher that I admire. So I think I want to say I probably heard the term first from him. But
Okay.
please share your
Oh
experience.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's a real ancient spiritual projection Taoist tool. So
Wow.
shape shifting goes really deep into some real ancient Qigong and
Hmm.
Qigong practices, and then ultimately you sort of resonate. You start resonating your physical body, then you resonate your energetic body, and then that
Hmm.
will pop your spirit body out, and then you can morph into whatever you want. So
Mm.
that spirit then transforms into an object or into another image or of a person, place, or thing, and that is part of spirit shape shifting in of itself from a more ancient level. So it's
Wow.
kind of like a much deeper, and in essence, it's the same thing as what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Only we're kind of like being more intentional in
Yes.
the resonation component, and you'll find that once you practice that, which DD teaches people to do that, it's like really profound stuff. I've actually got a, if someone hasn't seen it, or you may have not have seen it, I've got a manifestation video and a basically astral plane travel or out of body experience on my channel on
Mm.
YouTube, and so that I take you through that, and
Oh,
so
I would love to watch that. That would be awesome. Thank you. Do you
yeah,
know the
yeah,
title of that? Um,
yeah. The what did I put it as? It was 5D, from 3D to 5D reality.
from 3D to
So
5D reality.
yeah. Yeah, and just
Okay.
look it up on my YouTube. The manifestation one I wanna speak on because this is your deal, And
Yeah.
so you mentioned something that was really powerful that I've been teaching people for a long time is to ride that wave. So when you understand that how the universe sort of pulsates, so if you
Mhm.
look at it from the level of the 0 point, have you heard of 0 point energy?
No.
Okay, so basically, if you were to look at it from more a technical, how we're looking at technical, so 0 point energy is like the field that we talk of, the field, the matrix, the Buddha, oneness, God, whatever, Tao. It's that
Okay.
interconnection. So if for example, we have a distance between you and I, you're in one place, I'm in another, but in actuality, at a subatomic level, there are trillions of dots of this 0 point energy, which is basically um, what we call black hole energy, which is an infinite energy. It's not, and it's not sinister in that sense. If anyone's looking at that, it's actually a wormhole, but realized within the universe. Taoists have been using black hole energy for thousands of years, and it's part of like connecting with the heart. And so, from the symbolism of it and how you get a black hole is generated from the death of a star. So
Um,
the
mm,
within the Taoist practice, you would the death of the star would be realized. Then the red phoenix would rise within your middle dantian, and that would
mm,
be realized within this energy, this infinite energy, which is sort of like a what we call the Wu Ji, which is the the space between the yin and yang energy, which is
mm,
realized as stillness. And so, rather
mm,
than me getting anyone too confused right now, it's that rippling effect. So between DeDe and I is zero space. It's filled
mm,
with these little dots that you can't see at a subatomic level, but within those dots is the plasma that is the field that we speak of. That how you resonate at a high level to get sort of like a 5D reality, and how DeDe teaches people to manifest. It's that realization. Most people are manifesting because they don't have emotional content that's put into place. Like you can get a profound experience. And I'm just speaking from my experience, and DeDe will share it with hers. But like I always use the parking ferry as an example
mhm.
because I don't know, have you heard of this before? The parking ferry analogy? Probably,
I
maybe.
think that you and I spoke about it. I believe
Oh,
the
right.
first time I've heard about it was with you, but
Okay.
we mhm,
And it's so it's like basically you can dip your toe in the pool without no harm, no foul. So you
mm,
can sort of like quietly in your mind go, I want that parking space, but
mm,
I'm not going to get disappointed if it doesn't happen. And then you start to get into a situation where you just think it and it materializes and
yeah,
it goes from the parking space to, and so most people are cynical, introspective, analytical in their nature. Human beings have a default of fight or flight. So the primal nature is to reproduce and survive another day. So
mhm,
once we get through all that, then we get to this. Okay, I'm cynical, so oh yeah, DeDe and Seafood told me to do this, and it happened. That's just a coincidence. Oh, it's just because it's in the front, near the front of the store. It's happened again, and then by the 47th time that they've done it, and they've been in a completely full parking lot, and they just think it, and a parking space materializes. There's a validation, a
yeah,
confirmation that comes with that. And that's where we don't have any emotional content. We're kind of like, I'll just put it out there. No one knows that I'm saying this. I'm just going to put it, and then it realizes. And the
yeah,
second, just as DeDe's saying, the second people get caught up in the money, the career, whatever, then it becomes a little bit more complex. It's not.
yeah,
I'm not saying to our audience, and you'll probably confirm this. It's not impossible. It's absolutely possible. It's just how as DeDe constantly reminds us, how do you resonate? That frequency has to be so high, and when you live in it, the way she
mm,
does, it's so much easier to stay in the field. So basically, what we're talking about, the field, this 0 point energy is this plasma that is not visible between you and I, but is tangible, right? So
mhm,
when I say tangible, we can say I can move my hands back and forth here, and if DeDe puts any little bit of her attention to it, she can start to feel. You see what I'm saying? Can you feel that?
mm,
Right?
mhm.
Right,
I
right.
definitely
Because
can.
that's instantaneous. That's how it works. We are there. So just what both DeDe and I are thanking everyone. Go ahead and make your manifestation. Go and do your healing.
Mhm.
Cast your magic because it's realized. And that's how
Mhm.
quickly it takes place because that's that interconnection that we speak of. It's
Mhm.
instantaneous. And so when you go and put a manifestation out and you don't have any emotional content, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
And that's where you could take this away and run off and do it 47 times and go, you know what, maybe DD and Sifu have something to offer. I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe and that's that confirmation. It's got to be realized for you. It has to be true to you,
Mhm.
as we keep reminding people of. But that connection of that energy, what I'm speaking of is the flow. So just as I'm
Yes.
doing this, right, it's that flow that Didi was talking about. And so everything is interconnected from the quantum physics model, the entanglement idea. So what
Mhm.
that means is all those little dots are connected with DD and I. We can feel this energy just like I'm doing right now. And so that pulsating flow, the difference between Newtonian physics and quantum physics is simplistic. Newtonian physics, which is the antiquated first version to the realization of Western physics, is that things that cause an effect and they move around each other. Quantum physics is everything is pulsating; it's all interconnected. So it's
Yeah.
doing this. And so what I would say is, just as Didi said, you want to hit the wave. The wave is when you get something, and this is the video. I really want you to watch it because
I
um,
can't wait.
you're gonna love the manifestation one because it's really simple. Take a song, any song, I don't care what it is, and you find that peak that gets you all fuzzy inside. And for me, and anyone that watches my podcast knows after a while, this guy's obsessed with Genuine. Yes, I am.
Are you
I'm just like, that guy
awesome?
is like an angel. That guy's like an angel. His voice is just infectious. And so
It
I
is.
most of the time I'll finish my podcast with Genuine because his I don't know, man. All he has to do, he could sing anything. It doesn't matter.
It is.
But
And
that
his voice is beautiful.
Oh, so beautiful. And so that peak, you can find a peak in any song. And
Mhm.
people freak out because I tell them, you feel it. And when you get that little peak, that high, and you get the charge and that excitement, that elated,
Yeah.
bubbling feeling that you get from any song, it doesn't matter what it
Yeah.
is. That's when you shoot your magic out. That's when you shoot your manifestation out. That's when you
Mhm.
shoot your healing out. And people they freak out. They're like, I did this. I started talking to someone who literally took one of my reels, heard this, and she did it. And 3 seconds later, she manifested a situation that she wanted to have happen for years that went boom. And it's that simple. People need to realize that. And I mean, this is what Didi's saying is that flow is that pulsating energy. And so
Mhm.
once they've listened to you and I talking, and it's like, okay, they're saying there's something there. There's a flow. There's something that gives them the initiation, that
Yeah.
cognitive spark to make it real for them. And that's all, that's my goal. And I'm sure that's Didi's goal. That's all it takes, guys. And
Yes,
you're there.
planting seeds. Mhm. Absolutely. Planting those seeds is very powerful, especially um you mentioned that you can something as simple as a parking space. It's a lot more simple because you don't have too much emotional, I guess, baggage against it. So it's
Yeah.
like, so it's easier. But that also showing, it's kind of like proving to yourself that this is real. And
Yes.
it kind of gives you, it makes your muscles a little bit bigger, your manifestation or spiritual muscles a little bit bigger, because it's kind of like, working out. You ideally wouldn't start off with those 300-pound weights or whatever. You want to, you can start off with the 5-pound weights, and work your way up to the 10-pound, and so on and so forth. That's similar basically to what you're saying. Do a parking space, and do something as simple as listening to music, and at that peak that where it resonates, manifest, I don't know, easy traffic while you're driving. I'm not sure if, would you say that we can do this tool, uh, while driving. This
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'll find a validator, and this happens quite often. You're
mhm.
driving down the highway, and you're like, "Please get out of my way."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, watch, they just move over."
Yes.
Or
Mhm.
you can sense someone's fear, and you're like, you're burning holes in the back of their head, and they're like, I'm sort of afraid. Then you realize it could be your own grandmother driving on the road. You're like, oh, I feel really bad. All right, let's move along. But it's like
Yeah.
that realization that message is instantaneous. It happens immediately. And so the validator is when you see it happen, you're like, I just drove through like what seems to be an endless amount of cars that just literally just fell to the side.
Yeah.
I didn't have to flash my lights. I didn't have to beep my horn. It was realized instantaneously. And what would you say? Because this is really exciting. I want to. What would you say is your go to meditation? Like, what do you do that really gets DeDe in that space of manifestation? Do you have a specific ritual or?
I have a couple. So a lot of everything, most of the things I do is very simple.
Mhm.
In fact, ease is my favorite word. But
Right, right.
so with my meditation, if I have, I usually only do about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. At
Okay.
30 minutes is usually the max, but 15 to 20 minutes is usually my quick go-to. And one of my favorite ways is, again, you mentioned music, is actually to listen to different um, frequency hertz. On I just go on YouTube, and one of the I change every now and again, but one of my favorite frequencies is 528 hertz. And so,
Right here. Truth teller, right here.
okay, yeah,
528. That's for the heart. That's
okay,
the heart
gotcha,
frequency. There you go.
gotcha. So that's one
Oh,
of my
what a
favorite.
coincidence.
Yeah, I
What a
know.
coincidence. It's like, whoa. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I love moments like that. That realization is like, whoa, because it's so powerful. And it's like I love the
Mhm.
528 because that's the truth teller frequency right there.
Yes. Okay, that makes so much sense. So that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite frequencies,
Yeah. Yeah.
at least right now. And I listen to that. I set a timer for 15 minutes. I put on headphones and I listen to that. And I just go deep. And when I meditate, I don't necessarily try to stop my thoughts. Sometimes I'll have, I guess you can say, an absence of thought, but for the most part, I so there's you can either try to make a movie, which that's not what you want, or just watch a movie. And when I say a movie, I mean in your mind, that your mind is
Yeah.
showing you.
Yeah.
So and it's not you're not trying to make you're not trying to manipulate what's going on in your thoughts or in your mind. You're
Mhm.
literally allowing things to just come to you. And
Wow.
so that's how I know when I'm in a deep state. I'm literally just watching it unfold. I'm not putting any
Wow.
effort into it. It's just a movie, just watching. For example, this last night, I was in a deep meditation, and this was the first time this happened. So I was a seed under the ground. This is an example of how my meditations can be. I was a seed in a ground, and all of a sudden I became um, roots. And so the roots started just coming out of me, and then
Wow.
eventually I became a tree, and I was a
Wow.
tree, and fruit. I'm sorry, not fruit. Flowers began to, it was white flowers began to bud off of me, and I
Beautiful.
was a tree, and I seen family coming by, sitting underneath me with shade, and this whole time I'm just a tree. And then eventually my meditation just ended. But so yeah, that is a little peek of how my meditations go.
That's
And I just start my
profound.
hmm
That's really profound. And it's like it is. You access this gateway and it really creates I'm a I I tend to operate in that state all the time.
hmm
So um when I'm moving around my life, it's always in that 5D sort of like state.
Wow.
So, I'm looking, my dashboard is everything has an aura, everything has a frequency, everything has a color, and that's just how I see it.
Mm,
Like, so I can see with my eyes open that realization. And it's kind
mhm.
of just, it's more a practicing thing. Once you train in these things, there's nothing that, as long as we're all human beings, all of us can access the same stuff. There's not an
Absolutely.
exception to the rule. And
Mm-mm.
so that level of clear vision is nothing more than a practice thing. And so when you practice the stuff and you be a little bit more, um, I guess you'd say, focus on what you're doing,
Mhm.
you can create this sort of skill set, because the way that you're visualizing and the density of the energy that I can see from what you're sharing with me is kind of, it's pretty amazing. And
Yeah.
so that access point is very tangible.
Mhm.
So um, that type of visualization, which is moreover just a new reality, it's not
Yeah.
even, because it's thick, it's potent, it's
Mhm.
dense in
Yeah.
the offering. That's
Mhm.
very profound, my friend. Very, very
Oh,
profound.
thank you. I want to ask you. So I think when we talked previously, you're able to read or see auras, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. I
What
was actually
color?
going to put a video out. I'm going to put a video out how to teach people how to do that.
Oh,
So that's
awesome.
going to be soon. But go ahead,
What
go.
color is what color is my aura? Curious.
Right now, it's pink.
Ooh. Okay.
And
Awesome.
so that kind of ripples effects. You have a gold, halo, and you have a
Mm,
pink aura, but you're emanating from your middle dantian. Moreover, someone would call it the fourth chakra. However you want to see it, as a Taoist, it would be the fifth energy center. You're
okay.
emitting a very emerald green color,
Mm, mm,
and that would be reflectant on the transmission of the sun, which is basically light. So how people come to, like, what they call the rainbow body realization, I don't know whether you've ever heard of this term before. So rainbow body is like a spiritual realization that mostly Buddhists, I wouldn't say a Taoist really looks at it that way, but it's a level of ascension where the transmission of the sun has this electric component. And so as a Taoist, we have electric. The sun is your upper dantian, right?
okay.
This earth is your middle dantian, which is the heart. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the magnet. This is the electricity. And so when the sun shines its light down upon the earth, it transmits these wavelengths and lights of frequency that is generated. There's a spectrum of light. And so the light that is the center of the rainbow is the ultimate color, which is reflected on what you would probably call your fourth chakra. And that's why it's always
Mm-hmm.
realized as a pink, green, emerald color. And that's
Okay.
what you're admitting right now. That's the dial in. That's an incredible frequency. The perfect, as you mentioned before, I'm into 528. That is the heart frequency. And
Yeah.
so you're admitting that emerald color, and your aura is pink. And it sort of
Mm-hmm.
now is moving a little into magenta, but it varies. So if I was to look at, if you want me to do you want me to do any more of the reading, or?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If you.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, so basically you go around, you look at the organs. So now in excess or deficiency, there are five major organs that we look at, which is heart, liver, lungs, spleen, and kidneys. And
Okay.
so this is basically the five elements that generate the fluidity within your physical body. So you want to make sure they're not excessive or deficient in any way. So that is determined by your mental emotional state. And so
Okay.
your mental emotional state, there's two sides to a coin. Where you store that that material is with it manifests within the physical body. So you acquire a thought, feeling, and emotion. It transmutes from wave to matter to particle. It's now clustered into this this very tangible, like, energy that
Okay.
now will, if not realized or healed, will transmute into an emotion, which
Mm-hmm.
is not the ideal. You want the virtue, which is, you know, I am elated, I am love, I
Mhm.
am gratitude all day, which is what you transmit. I would say that your kidneys right now are at about 70-80% of potential. So you're
Okay.
born into your life with um, what we call the constitution, which is your gene. They're your kidneys, and so that would be in deficiency mainly due to how much you give, right? So
Okay.
when I'm looking around the cycle of things, you have your liver energy is equalized. It's not in any way, shape, or form excessive, yet it is an emotion that's present. And then
Okay.
we have spleen. Spleen is probably the most excess. So
Mhm.
excess. So when we look at spleen, there is a few different factors. One, you're transmitting the pure core energy of Earth, which is the key, right?
Yeah.
But then when it's realized too much on an emotional level, there are levels where you can have higher levels of anxiety,
Mhm.
OCD, these types of things that are sort of like in the peripheral. And I always understand this, that none of this stuff is the true source of anybody. They're just that's your part of things that we work through as human beings, and they
Yeah.
transmute, change on a daily basis. And then,
Mhm.
of course, the heart is like, my goodness, I'm finding it very difficult to look at you. And
Mhm.
then the lungs, you have a lot of stuff that's realized, but there is a little bit of sadness and grief that we all have this. So when
Yeah.
you take a snapshot, you're looking at these things. We look at it as a snapshot when you look at the aura. And so
Mhm.
that vibrational frequency, energy vibration is being realized with the mental emotional state. Um, you have an incredible aura.
Mhm.
Your capacity is not even close, but these the cycle of your elements is all related to how much you give, and then
Mhm.
what does that really mean? Um, when you're giving too much, is there too much? I don't believe there is. Yet sometimes we can sort of slip into not using that 0 point energy that I'm speaking of, as
Yeah.
opposed to surrendering ourselves and offering that up, not realizing that, hey, I used the battery pack, the extra one that I had, instead of just hooking up to the house. and
Yeah.
and sometimes that's realized in the mental emotional you know state that you're in. Does this make
Mhm.
any sense? Or
It does. It does. In fact, I'm going to tell you how spot on you are because I see an acupuncturist and she's very spiritual. She also does Reiki. Sorry,
okay,
and she said your kidneys are a little deficient. It could be because I'm expecting.
yeah.
Something and so she's like, we're going to work on your kidneys. This was just yesterday, so that's just it's just so amazing. I mean, you're spot on.
Well, you bumped it up from
Hmm.
yesterday to today. There was a variable of about 30% of your
Okay.
constitution. So she
Okay.
rose that up. She brought that up from 40 to 70. And then
Mm,
what I want to let people know when it comes to constitution, especially for a Taoist and anybody really, but because energy is our thing, I always go, it's a Taoist thing. But no, we train internal alchemy as a thing.
uh-huh.
You can realize that energy within the cells, and you can bump that up. The baseline of your constitution is the baseline. That's why we do, qigong, tai chi,
Mhm,
nigong, work with the energy, and you can raise your constitution up to 100 and in excess of
mhm.
100, 200, 300% of your baseline. And so that can
Wow.
be realized by you at any point. It's not like a limited level where you're going to have to stay with that. You were born with that. No, 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 no. That's your starting point, and then we just build on it. And
Yeah.
yes, there's absolutely that cycle where
Mhm,
you can see that you're sharing more because
mhm.
you're creating
Yeah.
you're a part of creating this incredible being. This life
Mhm,
force is being generated from your contribution sharing.
mhm.
So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're so gifted. So amazingly gifted. I know you said that your journey has started. I mean, you've been on this journey for over what,
For
30,
30
don't
years, over
30
30 years.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just it, and it shows, and I can feel it, and I can see it, and obviously it shows. So thank you for that. I appreciate you.
Well, I really appreciate you, and we're going to put together a video, and I'm going to put one together because this can be realized by anyone. The aura reading stuff is just a matter of being trained in it, and so I'll take you through the training, and someone like yourself will watch it once and go, "Whoa,
Hmm.
wow, I don't know whether I want this or not." You just start walking around going, "Ooh, I think I'm going to walk over that way
Yeah, I
today."
was just gonna say it's probably helpful with just avoiding certain energies and stuff like that, and so I can
Yeah.
only
Ye
imagine.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when people understand that everything is energy, and if you put your attention, intention into an emotional content that you believe is you, you're going to be the loser, unfortunately.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that always is the realization. It's like you want to feed into something that is going to expand you, not contract you. And so many
Hmm.
people tend to go with the basic emotions, and you become extremely contracted, and then all
Hmm.
of a sudden, you're not expanding.
Hmm.
You're and of course that has a rippling effect on the very core of you. That your DNA is realized like that too. So, having a long DNA strand that is expansive, or when you have the emotional content, it becomes very restricted to a point where it almost breaks, which is then reflected on your own physical body, and
Yeah.
so then that all sort of ripples out.
Hmm.
But I mean, you're getting stronger by the second now. Just sharing this information with you, you just bumped yourself up about 10 points right there, my friend,
I actually
because you're so
feel
tuned into it.
Yeah, I actually feel very relaxed and cooler. My body temperature feels a little cooler. So yeah, that's interesting.
Well, that's interesting because well, what it does is that's a pure yin energy. Right?
Mm,
So, and that's realized, if we were to look at male and female, male is yang,
mm,
female is yin, and that's an
mhm,
energy that you have abundance of. But especially when it comes to, if you want to up your game on clear senses, when it comes to clear vision, you want to. When you realize yin eyes is what they call it, where you can see spirits and energies and all that kind of stuff, that goes up as
mhm,
you start to regenerate and focus on that stuff. Yeah.
mm. That's awesome. Well, I can't
Yeah.
wait to take it. Whatever I'm just as I'm a teacher, I'm also a student. So I am eager to. I don't know if you offer specific classes.
Well, it's funny you say that. I'm gonna release one. I have one that's a more intensive, that's a couple of days, but I'm gonna put out one that is really accessible to most people, and
Okay.
it'll be like a program where you can instantly access this energy, and it opens up a portal where it'll blow your socks off. It's kind of nuts. I give it to my mother all the time when she's feeling a little under the weather. She wants to juice herself up,
Yeah.
and you construct this stuff, and it's just through color and frequency,
Mm,
and these are the two components that work hand in hand when it comes to healing, and then energetically rippling out. So when you use the color and frequency, all of a sudden, you know anything is possible. So yeah, I'm going to have that for most people, but moreover, um, I will work with you and start sharing with you some of these other things that you can start bringing into your own practice, because
mm,
they're great for nourishing and developing, and just that energetic wise, um, just ramp up that, you know just ramp the juice up. There's
yeah.
never too much. I mean, I always have people who are like, they'll be like, I I've known you for 15 years, and just when I say the energy can't get any stronger, it gets stronger. I'm like, that's right. It's
There's
never ending. It'll
more.
never end. There is more. There's always going to be more, and that's
Yeah.
where people they have to realize that.
Hmm.
It's like, it's always going to be present. So, um, yeah, we really we went over some amazing things today,
Yeah.
and it's so great to for most people. I'm not sure most people probably don't have this incredible angelic energy that they can witness and go, this is the being behind Happy Manifesto. You
Mm-hmm.
know, people just gravitate and they're like, whatever you're. It's like, have you ever seen that movie When Harry Met Sally? Have you ever seen
Yes.
that?
Uh-huh.
So it's like it's like when they come across your channel, it's like I'm having whatever she's having because it's going out there. I want
Yeah.
more of it. Give me more of it. I
Yeah.
will say, I, I, I want to bring the audience's attention to what pivoted you into this. You mentioned Abraham Hicks. What
Mhm.
was it that was so compelling for you that made you feel so motivated? What was it?
I, honestly, she just resonated with me. And it was the approach. Uh, I think it was just the approach that this can all be very simple, and that you can ultimately, the goal is joy, and that is the basis of life, and that's truly the basis of deliberate manifestation. Is happiness, enjoy happiness that is essentially equal to alignment. And so once I realized that either way it's a win-win, even if you think that the law of attraction is just some, not real, and if you can just at least admit that happiness and joy is definitely something that is definitely a desire, I think I would say for most humans, um,
Yeah.
and work on that, everything else is going to happen. Everything else is going to follow. And so I think that is, once I realized that is her message, it just resonated with me so deeply, and I started to practice it, and I realized, okay, that is the goal. It's joy, alignment, peace. And then you just stack on those things, and you can dive deeper. But yeah, that is the basis, and I think she just resonated with me with her message, really. Hmm.
Again, reiterating what DeDe and I always tell you, which is you got to feel it. It's got to feel
Hmm.
good to you. It's got to be about you. I will ask you this: the one question I always ask people: what is your definition of consciousness?
Hmm. I would say my definition of consciousness is, we kind of just pretty much talked about it a lot today. Um, it's just being, number one is, there's a big component of awareness, and being aware of the different states of reality. There's the 3D and 4D and 5D, not to get too complex with it, but knowing that in most cases, well, besides yours, I think you're probably operating in a 5D on the more regular basis. But once you enter into different states of consciousness, you can tap into different things, and you have access to different things. And so 3D and 4D is kind of the, you're kind of operating at a lower frequency, and also just being aware of that. So when I'm, in those doing those mundane things in traffic, and I'm not very deliberately focused, I know that I'm in a lower frequency, a lower by I wouldn't, not necessarily in a lower frequency, but I'm not operating at a higher level that I can, um,
Yeah,
which means I don't have access to those higher levels of those,
right.
those. So I think that is a part of consciousness, and there's different states of consciousness, and you can get to those different states of consciousness with different tools like meditation, and you can be at a lower state of consciousness by being angry and by being judgmental, and things like that. So I think that, I guess in the most simple way, that's my form of consciousness. But
That's beautiful.
happiness, yeah, happiness and love is one of my favorite um, states of consciousness, in a sense, or
Right.
frequency. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful because I mean, you're able to articulate it so well, and for most people, they kind of get confused because there's this physics sort of like model of one dimensional, two dimensional, and I tend to use that primarily because people understand it, but just shifting with that mental emotional state, that frequency that you spoke of just now is so poetic. It's so beautiful. It's
Mhm,
so realized because people can resonate with gratitude, they can resonate with love, they can resonate with appreciation, and
mhm.
that instantly realizes that frequency level, which is
Yeah.
so powerful. And it's like,
Mhm,
oh, you mean I'm feeling that way, I'm there? Yes, you are there.
mhm,
And so many people get caught up in that other stuff, and how DeDe and I talk about 3D, 4D, 5D. These are all things that are shifting gears, which I can see that she really shifts gears quite easily. But she can realize, look, I'm in 3D. It's plain vanilla. It's emotional content time. But then I'm going up to 4 and five being realized that we are everything. And it's kind of like
mhm.
an interesting amplitude because you'll experience that when you go and do that astral plane video that I have on YouTube. It's instant. So everything's interconnected. All of a sudden, you feel like a Christmas tree. And it's like,
Mm,
okay, this is on like Donkey Kong. This is going, this is like, and it's the sensory perception. You just pop out a little bit more. And sort of
mhm,
like this whole, I think where people get caught up is, oh, there's some sort of like way to access this dimensional shift. It's like how you feel. It's so beautiful and organic the way DD's describing it, because that's so raw and right into the point of where you need to be. And many people, um, they get caught up in the semantics of this physics type of perspective, which is very limited. I want people to realize if you're coming from just the aspect of physics, just the aspect of biology, just the act of physiology, you're limited. You
yes.
have to realize that's all encompassing. And
Mhm.
once you hit that, it's like
Yeah.
I think Dee Dee's sharing with the audience the way I would. It's like you can associate love and gratitude with a 5D. You're there. So
Mhm.
get your list out, manifest it, do whatever you need to do. It's going to become realized when you experience that estate. It's
Yeah.
second to none, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, the way that you just explained that is very beautiful. I agree with all of that. It all resonates for sure.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful stuff. This has been incredible today, my friend. It really
I
has.
agree.
And we need to do this more often. I think you'll have to come back here more often, unless you start a podcast and I'll get on your podcast. There you
Yeah.
go. I never know.
No, I would love to come back. That I enjoyed our conversation. It was very enriching, and this is also another form of alignment for me. So I'm
Yes.
floating, and I'm gonna continue to ride this wave for the rest of my day. So thank you so much.
It's beautiful. Well, thank you, and we really appreciate you coming on the channel and sharing and such an incredible insight into,
Hmm.
you know, what consciousness is, manifestation, how these things come about, and how you can apply them to your own reality and create this magical life that you want. Whatever you
Hmm.
want can be realized. It's just
Yeah.
up to you. And, just as Didi reminds everybody, remember that emotional state is where you're resonating high or low will determine how fast that realization has taken place, or
Hmm.
whether it's like, you're on the Lear jet fast, or you're on the donkey and pony fast. One of the
Yeah.
two is going to
Oh, I
eventually
love
get there.
that. Yes, I
You
love the way you just
know?
explained that. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I want to thank you, Didi, for coming on, and
Thank you.
all the listeners are going to be really excited. And when
Hmm.
you, especially for manifestation, that's what everybody, everybody wants
Everyone
to
loves it.
manifest. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're gonna love
Mhm.
it. And I just want to thank the audience for sharing their time today and
Thank
and
you.
listening to our conversation and what we're just offering to the world, that it can anybody can apply this stuff and instantaneously
Mhm.
realize whatever it is that they want in their reality. And the limit is only you. So
Mhm.
we can share everything. We can share our realizations. We can share our manifestation. We can share our healings. And we're just sharing them because we've repeated this over and over again, that we're able to realize that it's tangible, giving you a guide, but that's not the ultimate. The ultimate is you. The
Mhm.
ultimate is you and how you perceive your reality. Take what we share with you, apply it to your own reality, make it yours, craft it to be yours, detail it, do whatever you need, sand off a few things, sharpen a couple of others, but make it yours. And your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. And
Mhm.
with that said, I want to thank DeDe for coming on. I look forward to seeing her in a couple of weeks or months. We'll have her back on the channel. And I
Yeah.
want to thank you, the audience, for being a part of the community and sharing your thoughts and feelings and emotions on a daily basis throughout social media. You're very greatly appreciated. And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Quinn. And I'll see you on the next one, guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye, San Quinn. Thank you.